I'd like to introduce you to certified legal nurse consultant, Laurie Sprenger. Laurie, thank you so much for joining me here today.
You're welcome.
So Laurie, I'm really interested in what got you motivated to become a certified legal nurse consultant.
I would say that happened about the time I was getting a divorce, which was 20 years ago. That was the first time I was involved with the legal system to learn how things work. And after that, I just continued working my job in the hospital. But then I kept getting these brochures in the mail from you. I thought, this is something I think I might be interested in doing. And so it took a few years for me to finally get there to say, yes, I want to do this. And once I did your program, it was like, wow, I love this. It's just like my second love in my work.
So what did you love about it? What was it?
I just like the legal aspects and looking at it from the defense point and the plaintiff side. You know, there's always two sides to a story. And all my knowledge that I have gained from working in the hospital and my other clinical experiences help me to understand different aspects of a clinical situation and understand what should have been done and maybe was not done, and how a case can be built on that type of information.
Okay, so I know that you work as a certified legal nurse consultant inside a plaintiff law firm. How did you get that job?
That's a long story. I think I'll start back when I was in Illinois still in 2019. I was just ready to do something different. I was a professor at a college of nursing and just needed a change. And I could change at that time. My family was at the point where they allowed me to do that. And I just started applying to jobs and found out they were all in Atlanta. So I thought, well, maybe that's where I need to go. So I applied for 2 positions and was offered a job, an interview for one, and then another, but got accepted for the first one. And then that's when I made the trek. I cleaned out my house and moved down here.
Well,
So the first position,
congratulations.
yeah, it was
That's
exciting.
that is a significant move.
It was, and it all felt right. It did not ever feel like it was the wrong thing to do. It always felt like that was what I was meant to do. And
That's
so
awesome.
my family supported me and my kids supported me and just did it. It just felt so right.
You're mentioning that family support that's so important, I believe, in being successful. And so can you just expand on how that made a difference in your being able to move forward with your career goals?
It was very helpful because they did not want to hold me back. I mean, they loved me enough to let me go, I guess you could say, and to pursue my passion. Now, my mom and dad was just going, "Oh, really? You really want to do that?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And so mom didn't tell me this, but she told one of my friends, she said, "I'm just so glad Lori was able to get away from Adams County, Illinois, and make it to Atlanta and do what she loves to do." So they were supportive. She still is. Yes, they miss me, but we keep in contact.
Sure. Okay, so inside the law firm, a lot of CLNC consultants work independently, and I'm really enjoying this opportunity to speak to you, having the job inside the law firm. What would you say is a typical day for you inside the law firm?
Well, first of all, I have a hybrid schedule. I work 3 days in the office and 2 days at home. And most of the people do that now in the law firm. Our boss is very flexible with that. But a typical day would be like checking emails first and answer those and address anything that needs to be done emergently. And then I also have cases I'm on to do medcrons or experts.
And by medcrons, you mean chronologies. I'm just
Yes.
expanding that for any nurse that might not know what we're talking about here.
Yes. And then, so those are our cases. And then the second half of my position is screening new cases that come in. And that's very sporadic, but it seems like when we are busy, we are knocked down busy with new cases. And so it's my role to determine which of those are cases and which are not. And I love that. I love doing that. And I've learned so much from my boss about how to do that. And it's just been very beneficial for me to learn that side of the position.
Yeah, and I think that is something that is quite unique when you're working in-house inside that law firm is that you really have a lot of that early interaction with those potential clients. A lot of times, if you're an independent consultant, depending on the attorney, you may or may not get involved at the very beginning. You might get called in a little bit later. But as you're suggesting, this is a really fun part of the job, being able to help these attorneys make these very early decisions. All right, now I know that you've also consulted independently for attorneys. What would you say is different working in-house versus consulting independently?
I liked working independently. However, I'm not a marketing type person.
Okay.
And that just kind of set me apart from my other friends who like to pursue, the marketing aspect and getting cases. So that is the main difference between working independently and working in a firm. Where I'm at, I don't have to worry about work. It's always there. I always get a paycheck and it's all good.
And
But otherwise,
I'm sorry, I understand you, have a very nice salary and that you have good benefits, right? Not that you're going to expand on the preciseness of it, but would you say it's better than in the hospital?
I think not only the base pay, but the other benefits
Mhm.
package. The firm pays for my health insurance, and there's a 401k. I'm flexible with time off. And if my family gets ill, I can go back to Illinois and work remotely and be with them. It's just a very flexible schedule.
That's fantastic. All right, now I know that you work with about 4 different attorneys. What's that like, and how do you manage those different personalities?
Yeah, I'm the new kid on the block in the firm. And so the first LNC that my boss has ever worked with in firm, I think he's worked with others independently
Mhm.
before I got there. So he kind of knew, and he's also active on LinkedIn. So he knows what's going on. So, so he was very receptive, and he has attorney meetings weekly. So he meets with the attorneys as a group each week and lets them know, hey, we got a new LNC, she'll be coming, and I encourage you to work with her and, just delegate what they normally would have done on their own. They delegate to me in regards to the timelines, the medcrons, plaintiff arguments, defense arguments, experts. So it's a way for them to kind of let go a little bit so they can focus on their work as an attorney.
So are they different personalities?
Yeah, but that's just people, you get
Right.
used to it and just go with it. It's okay.
And I think nurses know how to do that
Okay.
anyway, right? We're kind
Yeah.
of used to working with a lot of different personalities. So, you mentioned that you will sometimes help these attorneys take on some things that they would formally do themselves. Now, I think you and I both know there's no way that an attorney can do a chronology of the relevant parts of this person's medical history and medical records in the way that you can. Would you agree with that? I mean,
I agree.
they think they can, but they really can't, right?
That's true.
So are they surprised or were they surprised when they saw what you were able to do for them?
Yeah, so work products for an LNC can be very comprehensive. It just depends on what they want you to focus on. But most of the times they want a comprehensive timeline in
Mhm.
addition to a summary. And a summary is just not a paragraph. I mean, I break it down into different categories so they know,
Mhm.
the different aspects of a summary regarding like records reviewed, any pre-existing conditions and so on. So they kind of have a blueprint, of what the case is like.
Yeah, and so do you feel like they appreciate that you bring something to the table that they really can't deliver, so to speak?
Yes, and sometimes it takes them a while to get to my work product because they're so busy. But then
Uh-huh.
it is something else that they have to read, but they do appreciate the conciseness and the viewpoints that I present.
What would you attribute your success within that law firm to? What kind of qualities do you feel like you deliver to them that's important for your success?
I think Dara noted during my interview, he just really liked me, personally. We just got along like we were best friends. It was just kind of a connection that I couldn't quite explain, but that part of it, just fell right into place. But on top of that, I'm being very organized and precise and knowledgeable about things, straightforward and objective. Don't beat around the bush. He once told me, if you're honest with me, everything, there's not an issue. So honesty is the best policy, regarding a case where, well, it's kind of a case or it couldn't be a case, but If we decide it's not a case, it's sometimes better for the firm because then they don't have to spend so much time working it up and then find out that, ooh, we shouldn't have done this. So I think just being knowledgeable, objective, and straightforward with the boss, the attorney, is very.
Okay. And so I know you do a lot of personal injury cases.
Mhm.
I know you do some malpractice, medical malpractice also. But a lot of RNs interested in becoming certified legal nurse consultants, they automatically think about helping attorneys on medical malpractice cases. But can you share a little of how you make a difference in these personal injury cases? Like, what's your role? What exactly, in terms of the analysis part? I know you do the chronologies, but what are you analyzing for these attorneys that helps to make a difference in these cases?
The main issue in personal injury cases is pre-existing conditions. That
So
is a huge, huge aspect. I mean, we just settled a case this week about a person who had been in a car wreck like 4 or 5 times prior to this current injury. So I had to go back and review the records and determine precisely what the injury was for this last incident and that it was not present during the other accidents. And that was very beneficial on top of a concussion and depression and how the current incident impacted his depression. And the case just settled and they were so happy.
congratulations. So in personal injury cases, for all the RNs listening, you can definitely help the attorneys understand the injuries that are being alleged in the case and help the attorney assess whether or not those injuries were really caused by the incident or the accident, as you would say. So how would you say being a certified legal nurse consultant has changed you or changed your life?
Again, when you find something you love to do, you've heard the quote, if you find something you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I work with my boss, I don't work for him. And I've never been able to say that before for any other job I've been in. I think it's just a passion for what I do. And the planets just lined up perfectly to where I'm where I need to be. And it's all worked out.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful statement about your boss. And, you said something earlier that it doesn't surprise me how you're describing the relationship now, because you said he meets once a week with the other attorneys and with you. That's a really special attorney, I think, that believes in the power of that communication with their team. So it
Yes.
sounds like everybody's got a good thing going there together.
Yes.
Lori, what's your definition of success?
Being happy with what you're doing.
Very good. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you. And I wish you more success and more happiness. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you.